If you're looking for inspiration about how to create social change in these very troubled times, look no further than Andrea Diaz of the Zod and Drea podcast. Her and Brent Whiting make up Zod and Drea. They have a podcast and a YouTube channel, which you should definitely subscribe to. Andrea Diaz tells us about who and what made her a feminist, her thoughts on fear, her thoughts on Brent Whiting and the Zod and Drea podcast and how it's a tool for social change. And she gives some very timely observation and advice to people who want to move that political needle toward the progress that they're so desperately hoping for. You do not want to miss this one. Stick around. My name is Sky Lucking, host of Courageous Creatives, the YouTube channel that elevates you to your highest self using inspiration, education, courage building, and community. This is the Wahoo, Arizona Who's Who section of Courageous Creatives. If you are interested in activism or politics, be sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up so I know you want more videos like this one. If you know someone who is an Arizona activist who needs to be spotlighted, please reach out to me or let me know in the comments below. Today I interview Andrea Diaz. She is one half of the dynamic duo, the Zod and Drea podcast with her partner, Brent Whiting. I gush all about the Zod and Drea podcast in the first part of my video series, which is the making of Zod and Drea, when I interviewed Zod, aka Brent Whiting. You can see that here. If you're interested in politics, relationships, movies, they have a little bit of everything, and they are both two incredibly intelligent and articulate people. So it is definitely worth going and subscribing and listening to their podcast. Andrea herself is, of course, all of those things. So let's get to her interview.
Andrea Diaz, and our organization is the Zod and Drea Podcast, LLC.
Just a little time out. In between the time where I interviewed Zod and Drea, which was in April, and now August, they started a nonprofit called Tomorrow We Vote, which is an amazing initiative. Essentially, they are getting groups of people together and trying to go and register high school seniors and other people to vote before these very consequential elections. I'm going to put all of the information in the description below, but when Andrea says that Zod and Drea is the only thing that they do, they've been a little bit more busy than that.
Background professionally as business development, higher education, health advocacy, and not-for-profit work, and also event planning and organizing. My parents, my mother, I always call her as the first example I have of a feminist. And she didn't realize that she was a feminist. She came from a very traditional household in Mexico, in Chihuahua, and came to the United States, specifically Arizona and Tucson, when she was about, I think, 8 years old or 6 years old. You know, it was tough for her. She was the eldest of all the siblings in her family, and she had to help with her mom raise the kids, and, you know, to make sure that they were good and make sure that everything was safe in the household. She took on a lot when she was really young. And she met my dad, who was a native of Phoenix, like in the second generation. And he just embraced her for who she was. And it was a really rare combination to find those types of personalities and backgrounds of people during the 50s and 60s. From their marriage came myself and my sister. And what we got to see growing up, and they're still married to this day after 43 years of marriage, is this loving relationship. So I got to see this rhythm going of what a healthy relationship could be like. And if she saw something that was not right in the community, because she worked in the school systems, she stood up about it. She made a voice about it. And that's the example that I had. And then my father was also a professional trainer and in development, and he would teach different policies and insurance for OSHA and like safety laws for men and women that were on different construction sites or safety buildings that couldn't speak English. So he would be their advocate and make sure that they knew that they had rights as laborers, and knew and made sure that they were aware that they had a voice as well. They didn't have to work if they were hurt. They could file a complaint if something was going wrong at their office and place of business that was hurting their livelihood or well-being. Just seeing those examples taught me that if I see something, or I see people that are being, again, underserved, bullied, picked on, say something. Immigration. With the environment that's going on right now, there's now this community that has been created that is hiding in the dark, that feel that they cannot speak up, that if something happens to them, if they are robbed, if they are hurt, if they are, unfortunately, if they are raped, or if something happens to them, if a crime happens to them, they can't report it to anybody. They can't rely on the police or call on maybe a neighbor because they're afraid of being deported or being afraid of going into the prison system themselves. They call it the detention center, but it's actually a prison. It boggles my mind that nobody should ever feel that they are alone and they have no way of having protection, especially when we're in this country that's supposedly one of the safest countries in the world. You know, we're the leader, free leader of the entire globe, and this whole mantra of, hey, bring anybody into America, we accept everybody, is a proven lie now, and that breaks my heart. Also, education. Like I mentioned before, my mom came from an administrative education background. My dad in higher education training, and a lot of his brothers were educators within the Phoenix school systems. So I'm very passionate about teachers' rights and students' rights, making sure that the classroom environment is safe, is a place where students can really be creative and express themselves, and teachers feel appreciated and that they are valued. That is also extremely important to me. I do. We try to create a platform for people with all types of views to speak their mind and to express themselves. Even if they don't agree with what we have to say, as long as they're not offensive or discriminate against us, you're welcome to speak your mind on our platform. That's what we wanted to do, because maybe we're saying something that isn't something that everyone agrees upon. Great, let's have a discussion about that. Share your ideas with us. And we're constantly always ending our podcast with inviting people from not just Arizona, but from all over the country. If you're going to be in Phoenix, come and be part of our podcast. If you don't agree with what we're saying, share that with us. Get on a phone call with us. And I've seen we so far haven't had anybody call in and have an argument or discussion with us, but we've seen the tweets, we've seen the posts on Facebook and other platforms of people just chiming in saying, maybe I didn't agree with you on this, but I see your point. And that's why I think this podcast is a powerful way to bring some type of social change. If one person is impacted, then that to me is important. Yes. I feel that there is a revolution in a way that I think this country and maybe the globe hasn't seen before. We have a voice that has been simmering, that's been wanting to say something and give life to for so long. There's been I realize I've been a victim of these microaggressions my entire life, of trying to fit in two worlds. I'm not Mexican enough because I wasn't born in Mexico. I'm not American enough because I'm Mexican. So where do I fit in? Who do I satisfy? And I realized as I got older, I don't need to satisfy anybody. It's just me and my God who I need to satisfy, and make sure that I walk on this planet with a conscious effort to make sure that I'm not a jerk, and that I treat everybody the way that I would want to be treated. The way that my parents taught me to treat people was that we all put our pants on one leg at a time. And how would you feel if you were in that situation that they're in? Be empathetic. Understand what somebody's going through. Everybody puts on, what I've learned is this, we call mask. What I want you to see out in the world. And we've built, especially with Latino women, we've built this hard armor because we were taught by society, by the colonizers, if you will, that you can't show you're too passionate because you're labeled that crazy Latina, or you can't show your emotions because you can't cry because then, oh, she's weak. Oh, she's being dramatic. No, not anymore. Put down that guard because it is a safe place for you now to own that. You own that, yes, I do feel emotion, and that's a good thing. Because if I don't feel my emotions, it means I'm dead. And I don't want to be walking around the planet just dead. I want to feel emotion, whether it's good or bad. And then once I feel it, once I express it, then it's gone. It's not simmering inside of me, festering into something else that'll pop up years later, or may pop up as a sickness or something like that. It just gets it out. I think right now Latinas have a voice and feel that this is their time because we've been tired of having to walk around the planet with a mask on. I've learned that fear and the fears that I created, that I thought I was fearful of, a situation or a person, was all due to the story I made about it. So that's what I realized was all the fears that in my life down the road as I got older, I realized it's just a story I made up. That person I always thought was so fearful, that CEO, oh, that person would never want to talk to me ever. But I realized that person's just the same as me. Maybe they're afraid of me. Maybe they're afraid of being confronted or being spoken to or being even acknowledged. So that's what I realized is that fear, a lot of it is just what you make up in your head. Yes, I am in love with the Zod, aka Brent Whiting. He gets me. And what I mean by that is that he accepts me for who I am, who I was, and who I will be. So to me, that was everything. Because, I've been divorced, I've had multiple relationships, and never ever has he made me feel less than or wrong for actually having another life before him. We both agree that all the relationships and all the experiences that we've had with other people, friends, and all of this brought us to this moment, brought us together. And if those experiences and those relationships never happened, we would have never happened. So I'm thankful for the experiences and the people that he's had in his life, because then this is who I get to be with now, and he's amazing. I want more people to stop being afraid. Reach out to the person that's next to you. Reach out to that person that you see maybe at work every day and just say hi. We all want to be acknowledged. Every human being truly just wants to be acknowledged, that they exist, that they're there in front of you, that they share the same space with you. Just acknowledge them. And also just let them know that, hey, I see you. Hi. If there is something that you're passionate about, something that you see that is wrong, you see somebody that is, or a situation that you feel that is just not the right thing to happen right now, do something about it. Don't just go behind your computer or your phone and tweet about it or make a frowny face or a smiley face. Go out and do something. Go to that homeless shelter and dedicate an evening then to help out that community. Go to the food bank. Go donate something. Go donate clothes. Go into the community and actually make a difference versus just an emoji. What you're doing in allowing people to be vulnerable and to expose to everybody what is important to them and some of what makes them tick, I think is extremely important. And I'm so thankful that you're doing that. At ZodandDrea.com and at Zod and Drea, pretty much every type of social platform you can find. And all we ask is listen in, watch one of our videos, and let us know what you think.
Yes, yes, yes. Please go and subscribe to all of those places that Andrea mentioned. Thank you so much, Brent and Andrea. Like I said, they have so much going on. They absolutely walk the walk when it comes to working hard, pounding the pavement, getting out there, being active, recruiting people. They are totally my heroes when it comes to that area of activism and politics in Arizona. If you want to help register people to vote, students to vote before these very, very consequential elections, be sure to hook up with Tomorrow We Vote and see where they're going to be volunteering next. As always, please subscribe to this channel so we can get the word out about these amazing initiatives. Give this video a thumbs up, and remember, if you are working toward the change you want to see in the world, you are courageous.